Buddy, this is gonna be a short session overall because I'm just gonna be wrapping up the game. I didn't expect that 120 was gonna be the key to success. It kind of wasn't. So I had to give these guys equipment that made getting CP an easier task. Even if it means that they're more vulnerable to status ailments and they're not as effective as evasion tanks. Like, this dude lost like 8 points of evasion ability, or maybe even more than that. No, I think it was 8. I gave one to Reen and Shizuna, and I think Kevin as well. Let's actually take a look. Okay, one of my fake followers must have gotten suspended. I'm tired of all of these like fraudsters. Or maybe they got like sick of my shit because I've been streaming a lot and they're like, let me unfollow because this guy's he's not gonna pay. I wanna get to 100 the right way. And I wanna get like steadily above 100 so that there's no setback from it. Remember when people are like, oh, I'm about to get a 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million subscriber goal, and then people start unsubscribing out of spite. That gets motherfuckers a lot. So, you got this. And you got that. The next section of the game is prone to crashing, so
extremely cautious.
Keep your wits about.
Be wary of ranged attacks.
I'm not doing this on purpose, by the way. I know some people are very dim-witted. I got some actual controller drift issues and it sucks, I'll admit, but this is the worst controller drift I've ever had since this controller started getting drift. It was never this aggressive. Like, what the hell is going on? Anyway, I'm starting to get like the bubble guts. So I had some lamb chops, potato with a lot of garlic. You know, chips in the British sense. Diced up potatoes and shit. Little square of dark chocolate. What else? Add milk and a banana. So a lot of fruit groups. I don't have lactose intolerance. My father does, but normally I have like a very low calorie but nutritiously dense meal to start off my sessions. That's not how we're rolling now. We're doing something a little different because I had leftovers from dinner and wait, let me get myself some of that. So, I don't know what enemies I have missing, but I'm just gonna keep going, and I'll handle all of that in New Game Plus. Just like maxing out Shizuna's connection thing, which is gonna be easy. Breezy.
I feel reinvigorated.
I could give some of that equipment I gave to Rin and Shizuna to some of my other party members, but look at how over-leveled we all are. Who should I get rid of? I don't even like using her. No, you know what? Hold on. She's good as support. I feel like I'm missing out on something with her.
But why?
On top of that,
I'm not gonna have
still
ultimate
bothered by
wins
whatever
because I
Grammy's up to.
gave that to
Whatever the
Rufus.
truth behind the space program is, it's something we can no longer ignore.
Everything that's going to happen from here on, it's important that you guys learn it on your own.
Yeah. Even if my own brother stands in our way, I need to know now.
Right. And whatever we find out will help Agnes too.
Hey, boss man, you better give her one hell of a talking to once this is all done.
You're damn right I will. But first things first, we gotta have a chat with Mr. President.
There will be no turning back from here. We'd best be sure we're fully prepared.
You've come, ladies and gentlemen of Arkride Solutions.
With Beauty's blade, the divine blade of silver, and the former Kitty and Roaring Lion in tow at that.
It stands to reason that you've defeated both Hercules and Mirabelle, having made it this far.
Yeah, we're here to take you up on your invitation. Not just to learn what my part-timer's deal is, but also to expose this overblown project of yours from top to bottom, President Gramheart.
We're finally down to less than 15 minutes before launch! You won't want to look away for even a second, folks!
Citizens of Calvert. No, viewers all across Zemuria. Please join us in witnessing this momentous feat for the ages.
Huh? It's Agnes.
Oh, so it is. And wasn't that Dominique with her?
Why are they heading to the tower now of all times? It's not even supposed to be open today. Otherwise, the observation deck would have been my first choice of where to come clean to Yume.
Hey, Mommy? Maxim?
Say no more, sweetie. Let's go and ask if they'd like to join us.
Right.
Hold on a second! If we do that, we'll miss the launch!
Come on, we gotta hurry! We can't ignore Agnes on her birthday!
Interesting. I wonder if that means she'll end up on Primal Grounds.
Final sequence. All systems green for Prometheus 4.
Subhatches 1 through 8 on standby. Answerers also on standby.
Roger that. Come in, Major Amelia Haring.
Comms will be closed until terminal countdown. May the goddess be with you.
May the goddess be with you! Glory to the Republic!
And hope for Zemuria. Be back soon, Mission Control. Papa?
I told you not to call me Mim. Oh, never mind. Go get him, Amelia.
We now come to you live from the hot springs paradise of Longlai, not far from Zeku Space Base.
As you can see, crowds from all over are here to see for themselves this historic triumph.
Historic triumph. Oh, how much less this would weigh on me if that's all it was.
It's true that this will mark the very first time Zemuria has seen a human make it to outer space.
But there's another, more critical layer that overshadows that accomplishment, isn't there?
Enough to make you scrounge up those dirtbags over there for some extra muscle.
Well, that's a fine how do you do.
Though we can hardly fault the hostility.
Yeah, Viola is more beautiful than I remember.
Wait, where'd they come from?
Well, both did survive the events at Oracion. The authorities ought to have them behind bars.
Oh, curb the shock and awe.
I thought I had them die.
Marduk and the presidential office struck a deal
In pandemonium.
on what to do with us is all. And just like that, we were handed off to Marduk.
Ooh, that actually sucks. Is that because of how I loaded the file? Like, what is going on with that?
Well, it would entail living on in shame. By no means did we have the right to refuse. Ours was an exceptional case made in the name of raising Project Laevateinn's success rate by a mere 0.03%.
Huh. So that's the story.
Then in essence, you had what amounted to a life sentence in prison, completely commuted.
Qasim, is this really how low you're all willing to sink?
Do not judge this from a warrior's perspective, Farida. In this time of heavenly upheaval, we did nothing more than bring together the pieces necessary to guarantee security.
Further, granting special provisions to these two was deemed far more preferable to Gerard Dantes and Melchior. Of course, both are fitted with an insurance policy of sorts, should either attempt to betray or...
But you already made Melchior a member of the Vestiges.
Remotely detonated explosive collars?
You actually developed something that gruesome?
I can see why you'd feel the need. Though those looks in their eyes say it won't be necessary.
A rather charitable assumption.
Our necks are in the noose here, Precious. You won't hear a peep from us. So go on.
Does remind me a
Chat
little
your
of
hearts
Gaunt's.
Real convincing, but fine.
We've got more important topics to get to anyway.
Well, let's have you start from the top. Tell us all about this Project Laevateinn, Mr. President.
Certainly. I summoned you here to do just that. We do have some luxury of time, courtesy of the Genesees. Whatever questions you have, I'll answer as best I can. But first, let me make clear that I'm no one of significance. Sheena Dirk, Claude Epstein, Latoya Hamilton. Compared to them, or even my wife Sophie and mother-in-law Lilia, I'm just an average soldier who rose to the political stage. But nevertheless, as one who knows the truth of this world, as a citizen of not only Calvert, but Zemuria itself, as a husband, a son-in-law, and above all else,
What was that clipping I just saw?
I have a duty to stop
Oh,
the
it's just his
cradle of
collar
time
flapping a
from
little.
continuing to imprison our world as it has.
Our world is imprisoned?
Cradle of time?
As I thought.
Consider the vestiges and E-factor contamination events that occurred in recent days. They can be thought of as fluctuations that emerged in response to the prospect of the Cradle's destruction. You might even call them aftershocks from the past and future, so to speak, albeit ones incapable of interfering with our designs.
What in the hell are you getting at?
It's just as that apostle. Or rather, as Melchior told us in Anchorville.
That it could all be spun as protecting Zemuria, you mean?
From destruction by entropy. From catastrophes on the scale of the Great Collapse. And this protection is made possible by means of a of a safety device. It's a force more relentless than the sealed space or the vanished mirage. And more absolute than the steel wrought from fire and earth's fateful clash.
Okay, that's some referencing the past
Yet,
Septarians.
there are those who do not believe that to be so. One such person being this country's president, Roy Gramheart. Evidently, his plans
So these two might not be vestiges.
Even the head of the society is willing to let it run its course, I hear.
Well now.
But I feel like I've seen people using their weapons fight against Reen and the gang during like Reen Chapter 3.
I'm not sure whether to feel honored or ashamed
Reenact
receiving
3.
recognition from someone even a terrorist would call deviant. But my, how time flies. To think that this is already 3 years in the making.
More specifically, it was immediately following President Gramhart's electoral victory 3 years ago that Project Laevateinn began. Its primary objective, put simply, is the destruction of the entity barring the world of Zemuria from its future.
This is the thing, we're kind of dealing with a Xenosaga free situation. If Xenosaga free needed to be split into a Xenosaga 4 as well.
It was still 1 month prior to the Battle of Jormungand.
But the thing about Xenosaga 3 is that it ends not with like the world being saved. It ends with the world being given an opportunity to save itself or meet its destruction instead of eternally looping.
The plan was shared only with Air Force General Haring and a select few members of the CID. Though initially received with partial skepticism, preparations and inquiries continued in secret behind the war's curtain. From there, be it the truth of what the Institute had disguised as outer space, Marduk's classified data, or intel from the Church, society, and so on.
You know, I think there's something beautiful about that because Xenosaga is a sci-fi story, and this story is also getting kind of sci-fi-ish. Ending your saga with not like we're gonna save the world as akin to like most fantasies, but we're gonna escape the Matrix. You know, the universe is already kind of encoded with its own destruction. So it's kind of a return to form. Not like, oh, the world is going to end, but the world naturally having circumstances that brings it to its end. That's already kind of normal. Although with Xenosaga, it's like they went back to their original planet, meaning the events that could lead to that are resolved. Xenosaga is kind of at a... It ends on a Xenogears episode 1 scenario, but the epilogue is kind of episode 6-ish.
Evidence that substantiates the President's hypothesis began steadily amassing.
Said hypothesis is that within that false outer space lies one of the Septarians bestowed by the goddess. That the treasure itself is keeping this world we call Zemuria sealed away while influencing the thoughts of those who live here. And last but not least, that it is evaluating this world by unknown criteria. Then rewinding to the start of the same 1200-year cycle.
Eternal recurrence, just like Xenosaga.
Bullshit. No way that holds water.
Yet all these factions, from the church to the society, they're acting on the premise that this will happen?
Perhaps this is the church's eschaton and the society's eternal recurrence, as well as the heaven's turn the Sword Hermit mentioned.
Whether it's real is another question, but all those terms definitely seem to be pointing toward the same thing.
Well, Ikaruga's the one working with them. How have you not heard this stuff by now?
Like I said before, even we were only let in on a fraction of the project, but the Heaven's Turn does come up in an Ikarugan folktale. In order to prevent it, we accepted their contract. That's the difference between us and those who know the crux of things, like Marduk. And I do mean both of you.
Aptly discerned.
The jig is up, General Manager. Your little voyeurism got caught in the act.
Tut-tut. I prefer to think of myself more as an observer. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thorndyke.
Miss Twinings, I trust your temporary assignment is going smoothly. Do feel at liberty to continue it without reservation. Now then, if you will permit me to elaborate. Marduk has indeed been aware of and speculating over this for some time now. I refer, of course, to the spatio-temporal rollback induced by the Septarian of Time, the Grand Reset. To dispel some mystique, our risk management AI was originally devised in aims of forestalling this very event. However, from Liberl to Crossbell to Erebonia, such incidents as the Retributive Tower were followed by accelerated increases in the possibility of its occurrence. Yet, curiously enough, its likelihood seemed to lessen for a time during the Battle of Jormungand against the Empire. Ascendancy over Zemuria and the subjugation of its people under the reign of the Septarian of Steel.
Well, they wouldn't be able to go to space if their technology is focused on killing each other instead.
Rather ironic that this undesirable aim actually led to the process of rewinding the world, what we call the Grand Reset, being deferred. Incidentally,
And the Azure Zero project, creating an alternate timeline where everybody's just away from tragedy, would probably lead to an outcome where that indefinitely pushes back anyone's ambitions to try and get to space, because they got everything they want over here.
as has been pointed out, the Church and the Society have been working independently to address
Probably
this
the
event.
Burl incident. I mean, if you don't have any artifacts or orbits working, you're not going to have the tech to get to space. And you're dealing with like crazy ass Ubermensch motherfuckers.
However, there are others who you could say have taken preparatory measures of a more concrete persuasion. Professor Epstein, for instance, progenitor of Orbal civilization and creator of the Genesis. As well as his disciple, Professor Latoya Hamilton, who created remarkable substitutes for those same devices. And let us not forget the inaugural Grimcat, Madame Dominique Lanster, or Lilia Claudel, formerly Epstein. Perhaps one might even count President Gramhart's departed wife Sophie and daughter Agnes among them.
That shot of Epstein looks kind of cool, where he's like has his back to the camera.
Exposition. Forgive me. It would seem I have overstepped my bounds.
Whether it's the Church, the Society, or Professor Epstein or Hamilton, we understand that their plans to address this crisis are based on the assumption that it's inevitable. But as the President of the Republic of Calvert, the foremost country in Zemuria, I cannot quietly sit and accept that. Having decided that, I went ahead with my own plans, which at this moment are near completion.
If I may interrupt. These plans naturally involve some level of risk, no?
But of course, I have no intention of denying that. Our target is currently in a state of pre-activational dormancy in outer space, far above Calvardian skies. We predict it will react to our attack with some kind of defense mechanism, albeit nothing too much for Major Amelia's assault frame and expertise. Even if it were to launch an assault on the surface, our air fleets and armored aviation division should be up to the task.
Additionally, out of consideration for casualties outside the Republic, we have already notified all other foreign administrations covertly. Marduk's risk management AI assessment currently places the odds at 7-2 in Calvard's, and by extension, the entire human race's favor. A 70% chance of project success against a 20% chance of failure, with the remaining 10% mathematically impossible to determine.
An unseemly shortcoming on our part. Leaving even that much room for error is simply disgraceful. I believe a slightly more accurate figure could be derived, however, with some cooperation from the, shall we say, more conscious mayor.
You're the last person I want to hear talking about her like she's some kind of tool.
Still, isn't all that just the picture of arrogance? Even if the scales are slightly tipped our way, you're still betting the fate of all humanity on a high-stakes gamble. What right does the head of a single nation have to make such a far-reaching decision?
Even so, there's not much time remaining. If we do nothing, it appears the reset will still happen in late August of this year.
Precisely when the sun, moon, and Septian planets will be in conjunction. Such is also spoken of in Krugan folklore, though perhaps it was relayed to Hamilton's pupils as well.
Oh yeah, that was in the chants passed down by our people.
So the assignments Gran gave me, Essie, and Yang, they were all in anticipation of this?
That just leaves the question of how you even know about this. My money says it has something to do with Agnes's mom and grandma.
You'd win that wager. Each of them carried out their role as a successor to Professor Epstein's last wishes. Their reasoning for going through with it was noble. But still, I couldn't accept it. Hence why I called Agnes to the capital and kept her in confinement. Though, admittedly, temporarily borrowing the power of her inheritance over there was additional motivation.
While it isn't quite their intended application, they do appear to improve the AI's assessment accuracy. This seems an ideal arrangement for you as well, seeing as it prevents the young lady from using them recklessly.
Renee.
Gotta admit, this all seems way too big for one small-time odd jobber from Edith. Still, I've got 3 bones to pick here. First off, Agnes and the rest of us busted our asses finally getting those Genesees together. You using them after the fact without our say-so doesn't sit right. So we'll just be taking them back.
Yeah! What you're doing isn't any different from the Garden Master!
And having some grand cause, no matter how noble, doesn't earn you a free pass.
Second, Professor Hamilton, Ouroboros, and the Church might be fine playing the waiting game on your plans. But kicking back and letting it slide without cross-checking all the mind-blowers you've dropped ain't the way we roll. And since it sounds like my own baggage is involved, I'm gonna keep on nosing in till I'm good and satisfied.
Same here. I'll find out the facts. Not just about what Gran's thinking, but this too.
As will I, on the Guild's behalf. Particularly when it impacts the future of each and every person on the continent.
That just leaves the third and most important point. We promised Humes